This video is brought to you by Dying Light 2.
Tell me one thing. Where are the zombies? Because I've been waiting for a long time and nothing is happening. I'm aware that for my wish to come true, the world would have to end. But that's not my fault. All through my life, from Michael Jackson's Thriller to The Walking Dead show, I've been bombarded with the promise that one day I would have to survive herds of undead corpses that can turn me into one of their own with a simple scratch. The problem is that's not happening anytime soon, I think. So, what do I do in the meantime? Well, I play video games, of course. They are like a high-definition simulator for me. My favorite one is the Dying Light series, especially the second one.
It happens 20 years after the apocalypse, and because it's an open world, you can go anywhere you want. The parkour on this game is phenomenal, but what really captivates me is the weapons.
Because the game happens 20 years after the zombie apocalypse, there's not a lot of firearms to go around. So, they need to be creative, turning all sorts of stuff into weapons. Like, for example, a baseball bat with nails. A classic. Or even a broken shovel. They even have a weapon called Warsaw, which is ironic because it's a Warsaw, but also Techland, the company that made the game, is based in Poland, from which the capital is Warsaw. It's a pretty good play on words. I've been playing the game for a while now, and I was thinking about it. What would be the best weapon for me on a zombie apocalypse? Maybe a sword?
Sure, a sword would be cool, but remember, with zombies you really need a one-swipe job because it only takes a scratch to turn you. And unless you have sword skills, I don't think that's happening.
Everyone can get a hatchet.
But they have a pretty small range, so unless you're good at throwing, forget it. The same goes for sledgehammers, too heavy and only really effective if the zombie's already on the ground.
My point here is that for an average Joe like me, with no real weapon skills or any real strength, it's best to have a weapon that does most of the work for me. With that in mind, if you're trying to chop down a tree and you have a decent amount of gains, you can use a hatchet. But if you're like me, you're gonna need a chainsaw. Chainsaws are pretty effective, but they are also pretty heavy. Trees are normally standing still, but zombies are not. So why not take the raw power of a chainsaw and combine it with the agility of a sword to make a chainsword? The first image that comes to mind when I think about a chainsaw sword is something like this. Of course, this is not realistic because I would never be able to fit an engine in such a small handle. Now, I don't want to be putting the engine here because that would concentrate all the weight above the handle. No, the ideal would be to put the engine somewhere around here, maybe extend the handle a little bit. And to do that, I think I have an idea. This is a chainsaw pole. It's used to cut smaller branches that are higher up on the tree.
This is perfect for this project because the chainsaw is here, but then there's a rod that comes all the way down here that if you spin it, you get things going. The way this thing works, or any chainsaw works for that matter, is pretty simple. You have a rotating pinion, which is engaged with a chain with teeth on it and revolves around a bar.
As you can see, the bar on this one is a little too small, so let's fix that. Oh, this is starting to look like something. It's not that heavy, but I still have to add some kind of engine down here to make this rotate. The engines on regular chainsaws are a little bit too bulky and heavy, so instead I was thinking about using one of these little guys, a nitro engine. This one has 2 horsepower and weighs about 650 grams.
This type of engine is normally used in RC cars. It's a 2-stroke engine that uses an exotic fuel called nitromethane, which is more powerful than gasoline.
Well, I guess before I put it on the chainsword, I need to see if it's working. Let's give it a test. Now I just need to pull this, I guess. Oh! You just need to put your finger in the exhaust. Jesus Christ, that's loud! Oh my god, it's like a chihuahua. It's small but makes so much noise. So,
The engine is able to make a lot of noise. Now let's see if it's able to power the chainsword. My idea is to use some pulleys and maybe a timing belt, and then place the engine somewhere around here. As you can see, I already 3D printed a pulley for the engine. Now I need to 3D print a support to fix it in place. So let's take care of that. Okay, so you go here. Oh, perfect fit. Nice. And the engine goes here. Okay, moment of truth. Let's give it a go. Where is the... Oh, here it is. You go here. 3, 2, 1. So this is not really working. This little guy is doing the best he can, but the chain is not really moving. It's not his fault. I overestimated his strength. Sure, it's a 2 horsepower engine, but after some calculations I realized it only has 1 Newton meter of torque, which is not much when compared with my electrical drill that has 50 Newton meters of torque. The funny thing is that even with my electrical drill, the chain is not moving that fast. Out of curiosity, I opened my electric drill and it's not that complex. It has a DC motor, a switch, and some gears. The motor is not even that powerful because it's a brushed DC motor. I think I can get much more power by using one of the inventions of the genius standing behind me. And no, I'm not talking about Snape. I'm talking about Nikola Tesla and the induction motor. Nikola Tesla invented the induction motor in 1887, which is basically the brushless DC motor of nowadays. So this here is a 8 horsepower brushless DC motor. What does that mean? It means it can move a car. Probably. It's basically a monster. And if I turn it at full power... I know it doesn't sound like much, probably sounds like a hairdryer, but that's because it doesn't have anything asymmetric on the shaft. If I place this little bit of tape here, we have a different story. And that wasn't even full power, it was like 20%. You know, with enough power, you can turn a piece of tape into a propeller. Yep. This type of electric motor is normally used in RC cars. It needs an ESC, batteries, and a way to throttle it. This is normally done with a remote controller, but I don't need that, because all of this is going to be on the sword that will be on my hand. So I'm going to use a servo motor tester, since they use the same wave frequency as this kind of motor. Yeah, now I need to find a way to fix all of this to the bottom of the chainsword. And that is going to require another dose of 3D modeling and 3D printing. Let's do it. I'm also 3D printing a support for the rod because it doesn't stay in place, and for that I'm using this ultra tough resin from Mach 3D. I tried with normal resin, but that didn't work so well. So, you might be wondering what this white goo is glass fiber. I reinforced this part because there's a lot of tension here, and this corner might break, so I'm not taking any chances, I just reinforced it. It doesn't look good, but at least the part is stronger. Now, I'm done with the assembling of this chainsword. Let's give it a test. Okay, let's start. Oh! Jesus Christ! Oh, that's insane! Yeah, the belt is, it needs a little bit more tensioning, but it's working. You know what they say, when life gives you lemons, you cut them with a chainsaw. You know what? Why waste the lemons that are good for lemonade when I can just destroy disgusting tomatoes? Also, they are softer. Maybe I get a better result. Okay, let's give a shot at this cucumber. That cut like butter. But I mean, this is not that tough. I guess what we need to do now is actually test the chainsaw and cut some wood. Yeah, something tougher. No trouble at all! Now, I'm fully aware that if I actually follow the rules of the game, I wouldn't be able to use this fancy stuff like the 3D printers and the electric motors, because the scenario of Dying Light 2 wouldn't probably allow it. There's no high-tech 20 years into a zombie apocalypse. But that's exactly what I love about this game. The ingenuity and the fact that it's so real about every single detail. It's no wonder this game was nominated for Game of the Year at the Steam Awards. If you're interested in playing it, which I recommend since this game was basically my inspiration for this project, Dying Light 2 is actually celebrating its first anniversary with a 50% off sale of the game. If you want to get it, just use the link in the description. It's still pretty surreal to me that I actually convinced Techland to sponsor this project. Maybe with your help I'm able to convince them to put this weapon into the game. If you think this weapon is worthy, tweet at Dying Light Game #DyingToCelebrate and ask them to put this chain sword into the game. United we shall prevail. So, talking about United, I think I had a cool idea to improve the weapon. I want to add, a curved triangular bayonet, so you can stick on the zombie and keep it far away while you get the sword through him. In this way, he's not able to bite or scratch you. There's only one slight problem. I don't really know how to weld. So I cut some steel tube and a curvy triangle out of sheet steel metal, and I united with my best mate Lilo. He's a professional welder, and he did it for me.
It's time for a cool testing montage. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Editing Joel, get on with it.
Well, there's no problem. If you had a gun, shoot him in the head.
So, cutting fruit and wood is fun, but I built this weapon to protect me from zombies. So meet my friend Frank Waldo. He's a professional zombie, he enjoys walks on the beach, watching the sunrise, and eating human brains. Let's give him what he deserves.
Let's get some speed on this, baby.
I think we can all agree that, yeah, I can decapitate some zombies with this. It works so well. I wasn't expecting this. And by the way, this is a faithful model. So this is like flesh and this is exactly like bone. It would work on zombies. Silly of me, I completely forgot. Frank Waldo has a cousin, Edigio. He doesn't really like human brains, he's a vegan, but he does like tomatoes. Come on, Edigio. Tomatoes are disgusting. He also deserves what he has coming. Okay, so, because they have also a hard skull, I want to see if I can cut through it, so I'm going to make a vertical cut this time. Let's try that. I didn't know there was blood in here! Oh, that's so gory! Yeah, this video is getting demonetized for sure.
I was not counting on that.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna be honest with you, this is probably one of the most fun projects I ever made, especially because I like this kind of weapon. I find firearms a little bit too boring. I'm more of a swords kind of guy. With that said, I think I'm gonna hang my chainsword over the fireplace until the end of the world calls for it. It's better than abstract art. Don't you think, Frank Waldo? I also think this is a great example of how much you can do with a cheap 3D printer like this. This one is the Neptune 3 and costs about $200. I say cheap when compared with other printers, of course. I'm aware that not everyone can spend $200 in a 3D printer, and that's exactly the reason why I like to give some away. On my last video I gave away a 3D printer to the most liked comment suggesting a theme for a future video. The winner was Pete. Just Pete. If you also want to win a 3D printer, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video, and post a comment suggesting a theme for a future video. The most liked comment will receive a brand new 3D printer. Anyway, this is everything for today. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, tomatoes are disgusting. See ya! Well, you're probably wondering why am I wearing different clothes. Don't wonder. You know exactly why.
When I ordered this, I didn't know there was blood here. I mean, it makes it more realistic, but please, employee from YouTube that is reviewing this video, please do not demonetize it. This is probably jam or paint, okay? Please. I mean, you can see the teeth. Oh my god. Oh Jesus Christ. Look at me. This looks like a murder scene. Also, I think look at this. I think I touched the part of the pulley with my pants. Well, as always, safety third, guys.